Hello, it's Elizabeth here. I'm right out the front of my apartment building. I've just come back from a walk along what I call my happy track. And my happy track it stretches to the north and south of right out the front of this building, and it's along the water. It's a really beautiful place to walk. But no matter where I am, I like to deem a track some sort of name that's empowering. And for me, it's a happy track. I mean, right from the beginning, when I moved here, I would imagine all sorts of things as I was out walking. I mean, at one stage I imagined building and choosing the land and building and project managing and designing a really large set of exotic condos and with glass lifts and all sorts of fantastic things. And I also imagined being a rock star, and I would sing at the top of my voice. And it was so much fun. So right from the beginning, I started off this process of doing things that made me happy as I was out walking. So I really like to give things an empowering name. I've been talking recently about empowering meanings. So when I go for a walk, it's not just a walk. It is actually something that's really fundamental in being a conscious creator. And while we're talking about conscious creating, I want to talk about some times that I've actually created some things in my life that have had maybe a negative impact on my life, or seemingly a negative impact at the time. What happened at that stage, I was quite discontent with the size my body was. So I decided at that time, I had this really strange wish. It was a wish that was, wow, I wish I could get some disease so that I would lose weight. Now, I have to admit that, because whenever we miscreate in our lives, there's always an initiating thought. What ended up happening was I created food intolerances, quite debilitating ones. I would be in bed for days on end with migraines, and it was quite an unhappy period of my life. So being in a mainly negative facing place, sometimes we do miscreate in our lives when we're not aware of it. So I just want to mention that, because when you can own the thought that you've had that created something negative in your life, like I know I created those food intolerances by the thought that I had. So when you miscreate, it's really handy to be able to say, I did that, to admit, to take responsibility. I did that. I know how I did that, because when you know how you do it, when you know how you've miscreated, you can change it around. You can recreate and make things way better than they might have been any other way. So that's just one example of how I know that I have created a negative result in my life, and I can give lots of examples of those. One of the things I find really handy is to not talk to other people about it. If I've created something in my life that's a negative, an illness, a disease, a death of somebody, or some sort of an accident, some sort of situation that shakes me up, if I think straight back, I'm able to find that initiating thought, or that originating thought that created, that set that event in motion. The universe is always here to serve us. It's not here to teach us lessons. It's not here to try and be good and behave or live in some assumed right way. All it's doing is reflecting back our thoughts and our dominant emotions. I love being able to own, I did that. I created that by that initiating thought that I had in that situation. And now I've been able to change it. I can eat almost anything I want. But what it did do for me, it gave me such benefits. It made me be more aware of what I was eating. Creating a food intolerance made me be more aware of what I was putting in my body. So it got me back on track. So even if I hadn't worked out how I created it, it was still a really, really beneficial creation. And I believe that they all are. Everything, every illness, every event, every circumstance that we attract into our lives, they say we're the creator of our reality. The more I admit responsibility for how I've created those sorts of things, and for those initiating thought. Always starts with a thought. Whenever I've owned it, I've been able to change it and make it fantastic.